Om Namo Narayana. Welcome back to another day. We're reading through the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2. I'm here with my little giraffe, and I saw a video the other day by this ISKCON teacher that I listen to who lives in India, and he said that if you become a devotee of his, or you take initiation or diksha, there's many things that he requires of you, but he hopes that before you've done that, you've read the first two cantos. So I'm not planning on doing that, or at least not at this point in my life. But I thought that was kind of cool. Like, oh, okay, we're doing one of the requirements. So I don't know why the first two cantos and not the others, but I guess as we read along, we shall find out. So here we are today, chapter 2. This is called The Lord in the Heart. Sri Sukadevi Goswami said, formerly, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on the Virat Rupa, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before. The way of presentation of Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned souls hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life while in the world of names. He should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing. When there are ample earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessities of varieties of utensils? When there is ample covering, or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms and charity? Do the rivers, being dried up, no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard-earned wealth? Thus, being fixed, one must render service unto the Supersoul situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency. Because he is the almighty personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited, he is the ultimate goal of life, and worshipping him, one can end the cause of conditioned state of existence. Who else but the gross materialist will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only, seeing the mass of people fallen in the river of suffering as the consequence of accruing the result of their own work? Others conceive of Lord Vishnu residing within the body, in the region of the heart, and measuring only 8 inches, with 4 hands carrying a lotus, a wheel of chariot, a conch shell, and a club respectively. His mouth expresses his happiness, his eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, and his garments, yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments all are made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. His lotus feet are placed over the holes of the lotus-like hearts of great mystics. On his chest is the Kaustubha jewel engraved with a beautiful calf, and others are jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers. He is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist, and his rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. His ringlets, his bangles, his oiled hair, curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. The Lord's magnanimous pastimes and glowing glancing of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benedictions. One must therefore concentrate on his transcendental form of the Lord, as long as the mind can be fixed on him by meditation. The process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of the Lord and progress to his smiling face, and the meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet, then the calves, then the thighs, and in this way higher and higher. The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs one after another, the more the intelligence becomes purified. Unless the gross materialist develops a sense of loving service unto the Supreme Lord, the seer of both transcendental and material worlds, he should remember or meditate upon the universal form of the Lord at the end of his prescribed duties. O king, whenever the yogi desires to leave this planet of human beings, he should not be perplexed about the proper time or place, but should comfortably sit without being disturbed, and regulating the life air, should control the senses of the mind. Thereafter the yogi should merge his mind by his unalloyed intelligence into the living entity, and then merge the living entity into the supersoul, and by doing this, the fully satisfied living entity becomes situated in the supreme stage of satisfaction, so that he ceases from all other activities. In that transcendental state, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. And what to speak of the demigods themselves? Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature. The transcendentalists desire to avoid everything godless, for they know the supreme situation to which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart. By the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization, and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole with which stool is evacuated with the heel as one's foot, and by lifting the life air from one place to another in the 6 primary places. The meditative devotee should slowly push up the life air from the navel to the heart, from there to the chest, from there to the root of the palate. He should search out the proper place with intelligence. I'm actually going to pause here, halfway through the chapter, and a few thoughts that were coming to me I wanted to share. As I was describing this last bit, I was thinking of those Buddhist nuns who are famous for basically poisoning themselves throughout their life very slowly, and then sealing themselves up in a room and just meditating until they die. Basically suicide. But this is it's kind of thinking about what they were probably planning to go through. You know, they're shutting their body down, getting rid of it, and then they're just going to meditate into death. Sadly, none of the bodies were preserved, because that's what you often see about these teachers, is these Buddhist monks were going to preserve their body, but they never did. I had that thought come in my head. It's kind of a grotesque thought on some level. I also was thinking how this is against materialists, but yet, okay, we could all live in caves. I mean, that's fine. We could do that. And we could wear torn clothing on the ground. Okay, that's fine. We could use our hands instead of utensils. That's fine too. We actually do. Eat a hamburger with utensils? Nah, I don't think so. But the problem with this phrase is, who's going to make the torn clothing that we're going to find in the first place? And also, there's a lot of things in this material world that maybe might be godless, but they make things way better on some level, and can be used for God. For example, I'm recording this on a fancy bit of technology. Certainly, a lot of people say this technology is godless. But yet, here I am sharing the gospel. I'm sharing God. So I'm doing something for God with this worthless piece of junk. So does this mean that I should get rid of this? That it's not worth it to share the words of the... It's not so clear-cut. You see, it's not so clear-cut. Yes, we can live in caves, but that means we don't build statues of Shiva, or we don't build temples or churches or whatever. We don't write books. I mean, we can give up on books then. We don't need to study the word of the Lord. Oh, wait a minute. We can study it verbally. Oh, well... It's not so clear-cut. These people say they should give up on everything. I actually knew this ISKCON teacher. I never really gelled with him. I attended to take a class, and it was like 2 classes in. His whole thing was, I'm going to study this college degree and get this fancy degree, and I'm going to tell you that I got this degree many, many, many times. So basically, I can prove that everything ISKCON says is correct. Now, funny enough, I have this same degree. And the way I took the degree and the way I approached it was to see the world as the big picture and to find things and discover things, not to basically just find a way of arguing my point of view. That's not a degree in how to think. That's a degree in, you should have just gotten a PR degree. But his whole thing was, we have to get rid of society, we have to get rid of cities, we all need to live in the country, we all need to, herd cows, and only then will we all be happy, if we all herd cows or in farmers. And literally he was like, all the men need to shave their heads, and everyone needs to look alike. So if we all look alike, we all do the same thing, we'll all be happy. But yet if you read these books, it doesn't say that we all should look alike. And I don't think Prabhupada said that we all should look alike, and act alike, and sound alike, and think alike, and we all should herd cows. And he basically wanted to take us back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years to some egalitarian thing, but take the entire population of Manhattan of a few million people and stick them on farms. I think you're going to run out of farmland, actually, but it's not going to... And then others will do other things, but then eventually you're going to go back to, here's a store owner, here's this. It's just going to recreate itself, because it always does. So I think this is a very simplistic view, but also, I don't think Swami Prabhupada said that in his books. I think he had things with context. But it's very interesting here. But I think, for me, the point of this, and then I'll let this video go, is a balance. We need to find a balance. We need to find a balance between this technology and living simplistically. It's finding maybe the best in the technology. Because honestly, if I live simplistically, and I know people who do, but I don't care about the Lord, what does it matter? Yeah, I don't buy many clothes. I bought 1 pair of shoes over the last 10 years. I'm living simplistically. I just play video games all day. It's all about context. Anyways, those thoughts came to me as I was reading. So, we shall pick this chapter up in the next video. Question, comments, and all that good stuff down below. As always, thank you for watching this, and thank you for your support. And we're doing this to learn about each other, to learn about ourselves, or to learn about me, and to praise the Lord. So, feel free to respond in any way, shape, or form on anything, and I'll see you in the next video. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.